Good evening and namaste. The population active in agriculture is over 4.3 million, the majority of whom are small and marginal farmers, who collectively produce nearly 70% of the country's food. While organic farming is widely practiced among Nepali farmers, biodynamic farming remains a relatively new concept for many. At a time when agriculture is among the most affected sectors by climate change, adopting biodynamic practices has become increasingly important for sustainable farming and food security. But what kind of tools and methods can truly support this goal? Adding to the challenge, many young people are migrating abroad due to low agricultural incomes, leaving rural areas with fewer hands to cultivate the land. Yet, despite these obstacles, Nepal must find ways to move forward in the face of climate change. Today, we are joined by Eduardo Rincon, a global co-leader in the biodynamic farming movement, to discuss the opportunities, potential, and impact of biodynamic farming in Nepal. Eduardo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here in our studios. You're basically from Mexico. You're known as a global leader in biodynamic farming, agriculture, and also people know you as an artist, connecting from agriculture to art. Let me begin with this specific concept, biodynamic farming. Can you shed light on this? What is this?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here with you today. It is important that we are able to open spaces for different ways of doing things that may seem to be new, but maybe they were here before we were here. And this is the case of agriculture, biodynamic agriculture. It was brought by Rudolf Steiner in Austria in the 1920s of last century, and it was born even before organic agriculture. So basically it is a type of agriculture related to agroecology or organic agriculture, but the difference mainly is that it includes some of the things that our ancestors were thinking about. This is rhythms of nature. This is the relationship of the human and the earth to the cosmic rhythms, to the spiritual world. So what we do is we take all of this into account, not only the biosphere, what is happening in our biosphere, but also outside, of course, the rhythm of the sun, the moon, the planets, and the zodiac. These are important things that actually affect our world and that create better ways of doing farming, so we can really have nutritious food, food that really nurtures from within. A lot of what we have today in our society is such bad quality food that we are also, the sickness that is happening in our earth is reflecting in even our digestive metabolic systems, and many of our illnesses are related to this abandonment of the earth or treatment of the earth.
It's interesting that how you pronounce that rhythm of the nature, rhythm of sun, rhythm of moon. How do you explain that, rhythm of nature?
Well, it's very beautiful because our ancestors were all about rhythm. All the movements of spiritual longing were based on this. For example, here in the Himalayas, I have heard, like in my land, you would go to the mountains on a certain part of the year, and you would go down from the mountains with the cattle and with the practices. So this was the yearly rhythm. So we can say it is in many places 4 crucial moments, 2 equinoxes and 2 solstices. But this turns into 4 seasons, or in some places 2 seasons. But we have the rhythm of the seasons. So you have this changing of weather, changing of, let's say, all of the environment. And agriculture is profoundly governed by these rhythms. And human life is, but we have forgotten a little bit about rhythm.
So you have been traveling all over the world, hopping from one country to another and talking about this biodynamic farming, and also working with the farmers and scientists as well, researchers as well. How do you find the practice of biodynamic farming in other places of the world?
Well, it's very different depending on the place, but when you speak to your grandparents, when you speak to the elders, you always find they were based on rhythm. So it's something very dear and very connected to society. It's just that in very little time we completely forgot about it and just worked even trying to overcome these rhythms with greenhouses and other things that are very valuable, but they take our mindset into this separation from nature. So it depends. In many countries, for example, in India, it was very strongly well taken and has developed immensely because of the sacredness of the relationship with the earth and with the rhythms. And I believe that this could be also the case for this region of the Himalayas, which is such an important place for the world. And so it varies differently, and it's so beautiful because it's really a kind of has a basis, but then you have an artistic aspect to it. So in different parts of the world, it changes a little bit. It is modified and adapted. In Latin America, we have a certain reality. So biodynamic agriculture works in a particular way or is brought in a particular way. It is strongly developed in Australia and New Zealand, for example, in India, in the USA. In different parts of the world, it varies, but it is beautiful to see how people can really relate to it because it's just based on human nature. The basis of this agriculture is the human being and its relationship to nature.
Let me segregate the traditional farming, organic farming, and biodynamic farming. What we see in our part of the world, farmers look at the sky and they decide whether it is a good time to plant a seed or not. Is it similar?
It is very similar. It is very similar. We just bring more tools to assess you, to say, how are you observing nature? Okay. What is it about nature that you're observing that makes you make the decision to plant? And you go to different towns and different traditions and they say, we wait till the equinox. We wait till the rains come. There are different versions depending on the weather and depending on the place. But if you go to the elders, they had a lot of traditions. And sometimes this was coupled also with spiritual traditions. So the celebration of the year came, then the planting came, then the harvest, etc. So I think it is quite interesting to bring more tools. And another of the aspects that we have in biodynamics is that a lot of our work is based on creating a sustainable space where you even create your own fertilization systems, you even create your own elements for your farming. So you can become, let's say, an organism. The farm is viewed as an individuality and as an organism that works with other organisms around. So this also creates a certain economic independence, even with products and things coming from outside the farm.
So when you talk about those tools, can you mention some of them?
Yes, for example, we have what we call the preparations, the biodynamic preparations, which were a center key of what we do, and then we have the biodynamic compost. So in organic farming, compost is central, but Rudolf Steiner, as I mentioned before, created these biodynamic preparations. So they would enhance this capacity of our compost to relate to the forces of the earth and the forces of, let's say, the heavens or the cosmos. So we create, let's say, a substance that it really helps the plant develop in its full capacity, bringing incredibly healthy and resilient plants. So part of what we do is creating incredibly healthy food, but also at the same time help the soil be more resilient. And this is key now in these moments of our existence when climate change is so strong and so changing. What can we bring to the earth to help it cope with these changes. And part of the preparations, the biodynamic preparations, are also helping in this direction, helping in this way.
So, is there any tool you can share with a farmer if he or she is watching this interview, so he or she can use it in their farming?
Yes, of course. Well, the idea is that we have to build these preparations. So we are now having a course here in Pokhara about biodynamic. We have an introduction to biodynamic agriculture tomorrow, and then we have a preparation, a workshop, and then we have an international conference that people are coming from all over. So one, for example, of our preparations has to do with cow manure, and the other one has to do with silica, with crystals of, let's say, crystals of silica. So these are in the two polarities. One goes to the fertility of the soil, and the other one goes to the light aspect. So these two, for example, which are not at all difficult to produce, can really help you, let's say, when you need root, when you need something that helps your plant be rooted and be in the earth strongly, you apply one of these preparations it's based on horse manure, and it's called 500. And the other one you apply when the plant is flowering, growing, and actually interacting with light. And this is the one with the silica crystals. So that's, for example, two very simple and basic preps that can help your plant develop roots or flowers or fruits.
It's beautiful when you describe how the process is done. Let me ask you a little different thing. What is a plant for you in your life?
Well, it's very beautiful because plants are the sustain of living. And one of the big questions that we have now with all of this technology, all of this Maya going around, trying to confuse us, what is human and what is alive. And I question myself, what is living? What is really living? When you look at the Himalayas and you feel there is so many aspects about this landscape that are alive, and the first thing you come up with is the plant world. The plant world sustains the animal world and is connected to the mineral world. Yeah. So these three aspects, mineral, plant and animal, are prevailing, and they sustain human life. So at the basis of the plant, of the world, in relationship to the mineral, is the plant world. And they are sustaining, this thin layer around our globe that is alive. And they are interacting with the sun, with the cosmos, and they are interacting with the earth. And from them, we bring part of our rhythmic life and also of our living sustainable life. So they are the connection, the first connection to life.
Wow, beautiful. There is a question from my friend in the newsroom. He says, many Nepali farmers already practice traditional and organic methods. How do biodynamic principles build upon or differ from these traditions? Let me explain. Nepal imports food worth over 300 billion rupees annually. Maintaining food security is the biggest issue for Nepal. Policymakers understand that our food security cannot be maintained through organic farming methods alone. How can this be overcome?
Well, I think that we have to start to understand what we want to do with food. Is it just volume or is it quality? So there are certain things that can be, let's say, in conventional agriculture, commercial, agro-industrial, there can be adjusted to be less toxic, to be remain in a productive sense, but also bring a certain aspect of other qualities to the soil. Because if we treat the soil just as a dead substance where we put chemicals only, and then we are constantly dependent on these chemicals and the soil becomes dead, we are losing our patrimony, we are losing an essential part of the landscape. So how do we keep the soil alive? And for this is where organic and biodynamic practices are very strong. We do not feed the plant, we create the environment in the soil that the soil is the one feeding the plant. So if we can start to move in the direction of saying, are our practices that are producing food in great scales really at the end damaging the earth or not? And how can we adjust that without saying it's completely wrong? How can we bring other aspects so that our soil is still alive, so that we are creating and healing our earth and not just subtracting things from it? So I think we have to start talking to each other and learning from each other.
Communicating.
Communicating.
Talking with the soil.
Talking to the soil, talking to the conventional farmers, establishing a dialogue of how can we collaborate together to maintain the earth alive and the quality high, as well as feeding our towns and our population.
So do you believe that we can have commercial farming and mass production through the same means of biodynamic farming?
Yes, there are some examples in the world. I was just talking to a farmer in the Netherlands, and he has an incredibly productive farm who is producing vegetables for commercial supermarkets. And he says this idea that organic and especially biodynamic farming cannot be productive is not correct. You can become incredibly productive with natural systems that heal the earth and heal the human being. We just have to learn how to do it. And it's very simple to buy a chemical and put it in the soil, but at the same time it's not sustainable. So let's find new ways of doing this.
So when you take this concept into the farm, you can actually reduce the farmer's dependency on chemical fertilizers as well, since in Nepal 80%, more than 80% of government subsidy to the farmers goes to the chemical fertilizers.
Yes, that's the idea, that the farm becomes self-sustaining as much as possible. Of course, this includes having animals which are producing the manure, and this will be even, let's say, easier or more susceptible to change, or that it's still prevailing in the mountains, because it's difficult to transport the chemicals there, but at the same time the earth has still some fertility than it is in the valleys. But I would say yes, the idea is that you become completely independent, or as much as possible, from sources of commercial fertilizers or pesticides.
How important is biodiversity when you talk about especially native plants and livestock in creating a resilient biodynamic farm systems?
It is crucial. It is central. This is one of the problems. We are dependent in the world in about 10 plants, which maize, wheat, rice, those are the main ones. Imagine the diversity of plants that we have. Here in this region is so rich in medicinal plants that are healing the earth and could heal us. We have to pay attention to that. So biodiversity and sustainability are central. We just had a beautiful meeting in Egypt about sustainability, and there's a university of sustainability there, and we just reshaped what is sustainability. And sustainability has to do with culture, has to do with economy, has to do with let's say the political aspect, not in terms of politics, but the relationship between these two. And then it has to do with the ecosystem, and at the end it has to do with spirituality. All of these things have to be taken into account. If we close ourselves just to material things, we will be missing something very important, that our soul knows about it. We still have to connect with nature. We have to connect with something holy. It doesn't matter in which way we do it, if it's religious or not, but these aspects are central. So bringing in sustainability, bringing in biodiversity was the way of doing farming. And this relationship that we find in the soil, we find in our stomach, in our inner biome. So the biome of the earth, the more diverse it is, the more diversity is there, the healthier the plant and the soil. the more diversity we have in our digestive system, the healthier we are. So when you see depleted, eroded soils, you see very strong problems with human digestion and metabolism.
Okay.
So diversity is fundamental.
So the quality of soil here in Nepal is being degraded day by day. Also, we have some natural calamities also that degrades the quality of soil. So can I assume that what I have been eating, the quality of my food has also been degrading? So that actually is affecting how I am thinking.
Absolutely. This is a crucial thing that you bring. This is central. So if we are taking something that is isolated from nature, that is just, you remove everything and you produce only one monocrop, and you kill everything else, and then you make food out of this, this is certainly less rich in flavor, rich in its qualities, but also not healthy for the stomach and for your thinking. Yeah. We cannot have higher thoughts if we don't have a proper diet. Ayurveda, I studied Ayurveda here 30 years ago in Nepal.
Nepal.
Yes, in Kathmandu. I had a teacher here. And this was the basis of it. And it was so beautiful because Ayurveda works with the minerals, works with the metals, works with the plants and the animals, and it creates this idea that what you are eating affects your thoughts and your quality of life. And during the pandemic, this was very clear. We all ran to healthy food in the pandemic. Yeah. At the unconscious level, we know that junk food is not the best thing for our development. Yeah. That if we care about our really health, we care about our food.
So the governments also need to work on this. Are governments working into these concepts? Do you find them working on them?
In some places they are opening up, especially at, let's say, smaller, not global policies or not country policies, but some states or some provinces are already
local governments.
Local governments where you have a good interaction. There's in our work we have to be good at three things. We have to be good in the social aspect. Yeah. We have to be good in the spiritual aspect. Yeah. And we have to be good in relationships. So we have to be open and dialogue and visit the people that are making the policies and inform them and bring these ideas. So maybe they say, let's start with a province or let's start with a region, and we have the political will to start helping you develop or sustain your practices. So we have to learn to dialogue. We have to learn to exchange, inform, and be open with everybody.
So what would be your suggestion to my mother, who sometimes goes to the farm and grows vegetables for my family, not for commercial aspect, and we have a little plot of land where we can grow spinaches or onions. She also can take this concept into the farm.
Absolutely.
What would be your advice? Because my mother tends to grow spinaches all over the season, 12 months.
Well, the first thing I would do is I would love to talk to your mother because she's a wealth of beautiful knowledge and tradition that should not be lost. Okay. You are now here, working here, and this is very important for the world and for your country, but we should not abandon the farmer, the small farmer. Yeah. They are like priests to the earth. They are doing the hard work. And in the process of commercialization and this maya about money and material things that has invaded all sections, even the farmer's dignity has been lost. So I think what people like your mother are doing is so has a high dignity, and they are really working with the earth, for the earth, and they are treasures. So we should, first of all, look at them like this and bring back the dignity of their work and appreciate this. So how can we support her? how can we support small farmers? Yesterday I cut my hair in a local parlor, and my hairdresser, I said, what do your parents do? And they were also farmers.
Yeah.
And I said, why are you here and not there? Have you ever done farming? And he said, yes, but I need to make more money. Yeah. But I said, can you support a little bit your family with this? And he said, yes. There is a tendency in certain countries to go back from the cities to the land.
Yes.
And this is also very interesting.
Yeah, many of the young people in Nepal also who have been to foreign lands, and they have come back with some little amount of money and going back to the land and started commercial farming, and they want to produce a high volume of vegetables or grains, and they also have a love to the soil. They don't want to degrade the quality of soil, but still money matters. So they are not being able to adopt the modern technology, neither they are being able to go organic or let's say biodynamic. What would be your suggestion to those farmers who want to get a big plot of land and start commercial farming, yet be sustainable and grow the quality product?
Well, we have to be entrepreneurs. We have to learn how to work with money to our benefit. It's not about fighting against money. It's about how do I design my farm that it brings good quality, healthy products, and good profit. Mm-hmm. So this is at the center. And you can take some places of the world, for example, wine, biodynamic wine is very appreciated. And the public doesn't know about what is biodynamic, but they taste it and they say, oh, this is incredibly quality. What are they doing? I don't know, but this is great. I think the same applies for medicine, for medicinal plants. This region is very strong on this, or wheat or other aspects. So what I would say is make a good business plan. Do not betray the land, and don't abandon healthy practices. Biodynamic would be the ideal, and learn how to do it in a way that you bring profit. I was working with medicinals in Mexico, and from each plant that I was growing, I had about half a liter of tincture. Okay. This is much higher than the raw plant. So processing, converting into high quality products, and being good at doing this helps a lot. And this region has many plants that the world could benefit from. The Himalayas are just a blessing.
So what would be your suggestions to the schools and the universities so that we can adopt this concept into our land?
There are many ways of doing it, but I suggest you have a plot of land and you go to the plot of land and you experience.
That's the basic.
I would say yes. All schools should have a small farm to become in contact with nature and learn how to do it. It is a trade. It is one of the highest educational things that we have is to farm. And we think it's lower. It's one of the highest. To be a farmer is such a trade. So let's learn it when we are in school. Even if we're not going to become farmers, we learn to respect it and honor it. But I think schools and universities should have farms and should do research and say, okay, let's do a conventional plot, an organic and a biodynamic. Let's analyze the results. Let's see what happens to the soil. But to be in contact with that, we should not abandon. Schools should have small farms or small plots of land for educational purposes.
At least to connect the students to the soil or the earth. Right?
That would be already incredible.
Do you have plans to work with institutions or organizations, companies in Nepal?
We are building this. One of the purposes of us coming here is to sense the space, understand it, respect it, and then see how can we collaborate. How can we bring things to you so you can develop it. And we have good examples in the world where this has been grown. So maybe creating a center for biodynamics would be something important. If we already have a good relationship with an institution and in the government to support this, it's a good plan to start. There are already some farms here working. How can we support? And now that we're going to have the Biodynamic Asian conference here, there's people from different parts of Asia coming here.
Okay.
160 of them. So dialogue, listening, and collaborating.
Where do you find the technological advancement being adopted in your concept?
I think we can benefit from so many things. For example...
Or is it a challenge or opportunity?
It is a great opportunity in certain aspects. If the tractor is driven by the robot, it's not the best thing. Human touch is important. But if we have soil analysis methodologies, if we have other techniques, thermometers, if we have meteorological stations connected to the computer, why not? This brings us closer to what we need. And then at the other end, we have human contact with the earth. So these two can work together.
Technological advancement, whatever it is, it should be operated or executed by the farmers themselves.
For the most part, yes. In the ancient times, the researcher was part of the experiment. We should not stop being part of the experiment. We, in our vision and our sensitivity, when we wake up in the morning and see the land, there's no machine that can value that, even if it tells you the precision, temperature and humidity. There is something about the land that can only be perceived by humans. And this still has to be prevalent, and we can definitely benefit from technology.
So do you see any challenges or something the big industries, multinational companies can do about this?
Well, we've seen it in organic development. When it is growing, when it's interesting for business, they support it. No,
Yeah.
Biodynamic, organic has been supported a lot because it became something growing very strongly. So the challenge is that we don't let that illusion of market replace what our values are. Okay. So we have to be strong in our values. We have to collaborate. We have to open, but not resign to our values. And in some cases, it is very tempting. But we should not abandon it because the health of the earth and the humans, it's at stake. We are the stewards of the earth.
So do you see our ultra-modern market giving value to whatever you are saying?
Well, it depends what you understand by ultra market.
Ultra-modern market.
Yes, I think a lot of, if you say supermarkets, are you speaking of this?
We are producing whatever we are producing. We are looking for more money, market-driven, and these fancy packages and fancy foods, and you see the fast foods and all. So we are producing whatever we are producing for the market. So it can be sold instantly, isn't it?
Well, we have to work on the consciousness of the consumer. And when the pandemic came, the consumers drive the markets.
Yes.
So if the consumer is interested in good quality, the vendor will bring an organic corner or a biodynamic corner in the big store.
Yes.
If it sells more.
They have such kinds of stores in Kathmandu as well.
Yes. So if you work on your community, which is not only farmers, but consumers and government and the economic people, if you work in all of your community and the consciousness and you go to a supermarket and say, I would like to have biodynamic food here. Oh, let's look for it. How do we work with that? So there are some supermarkets that are now driving the growth of biodynamics because they say we need more of this. People are looking for this.
Yeah, people are looking for, especially in Kathmandu, as of now, for organic apples, organic wheat, or organic rice in the supermarkets. That's interesting to see in the supermarkets.
So that's inspiring for the biodynamic movement.
So any advice for the media? Can media also work together with the farmers?
I think it's very important. Even today with our social media, behind social media people are looking for stories.
Yeah.
Right? Instagram stories, reels or this or that. They are short, etc. But how can we bring stories? How can we interview the elders and see their farms and say, what is the wealth of this amazing work? Can we help them by consuming their products? Can we establish a different relationship? So I think media is crucial. It's important that we tell the stories of what is valuable for humans.
That's why you are here.
That's why I'm here, part of it, yes.
That will be the last question, the question that initially I mentioned, your part of artist in you. What does that mean? People know you as artist and connect that art portion with the agriculture. Can you please explain?
Yes, thank you. I studied biology.
Yes.
So I was very much into materialistic science. And I went to the tropical forest where I worked.
Okay.
And I could not find solutions to the big questions that I had. What is life? What is the meaning of all of this? I could not find it in conventional science. So in my youth, I learned to draw and paint because my mother is also an artist. And I started drawing and painting. And this brought many of the compensation of this, like you were saying, technology and biodynamic can coexist. Art and science can coexist.
Yeah.
So it's very nurturing. Poetry, here you have some incredible people writing. So connecting to art helps you as a human being.
Well said, beautiful. I'm so thankful that you came into my studio and talked to me about your concept of biodynamic farming. And also this would be enlightening for some of the farmers, whoever is watching, if they are interested. Thank you so much for being with us. And also I request you to have a good time with the farmers in Nepal. You are traveling to Pokhara as well?
Yes.
This time as well. So it was 30 years back when you were in Nepal and you studied Ayurveda. And that's also interesting that you came to Nepal and studied Ayurveda and blend that concept to your concept.
Yes, I'm very thankful for this interview. It's an honor for me to be here in this country, beautiful country, and I will do whatever is in my hands to collaborate. We have a beautiful series of almost 10 days of work ahead of us. If any farmers are interested, we will leave the contact and the way to get into these courses that we are teaching soon. And thank you so much for this moment. It has been beautiful.
Thank you so much, Eduardo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.